good with the follow-up now? So let's move forward on the follow-up. So follow up, then follow up some more. Again, people are not coming off your database. And as social marketing becomes more and more prevalent in people's lives, they used to say it took like 4 or 5, 6 exposures for somebody to make a buying decision. I've read studies now that it's 15, 16, even 20 times, because we're constantly inundated with short marketing clips all the time when we're browsing the internet or scrolling through Facebook, things like that. And we don't even look at most of what's going on. But that thing that's been shown to us that follows us all around the internet, after the 15th or 20th exposure, we're finally clicking on it to see what it's about. So keep in mind that you are not going to get the majority of people to sign up the first time that you introduce this information. So the follow-up is your fortune. We're signing up people now, you guys, that we've talked to 3, 4, 5 years into the business, that something's different in their life now, or maybe they've seen that we've had success. This isn't the flavor of the month. We know what we're doing. Or maybe, you know, something changed on the health side of things, and now, you know, they're at a point that they want to integrate and be proactive, or they want to take care of something else that's already occurring in their life. For whatever reason is, this is the importance of your database never going away and following up with people. So what I tell people is that first exposure, people are going to fall into one of 3 categories. They're a yes, they're a no, or they're a maybe, okay? The no's, that's cool. You know, all my obligation was to share the information with you. What you do with it is completely up to you. I just didn't want you to call me back in 2 or 3 years and say, why didn't you share with me? You have the information, and that's cool. We'll still hang out, have beer, and drink football together, whatever it is, okay? But what I would ask of you is, if something changes in your life or you become interested in this down the road, just come back to me. You know, I shared this with you first, and I would really like that opportunity if something changes. And maybe, could I ask you, if something changes with the company, maybe we come out with a new product or there's new science, maybe I could just follow up with you in 5 or 6 months and just kind of let you know where we're at and what's changed. Is that okay? And I've had very, very little resistance to somebody saying that I can't follow up with them in 6 months from now to update them, or asking their permission that, you know, if something changes in their life, that they're going to come back to me. So that's what I'm doing with the no's, to keep them on my database and allowing me to follow up with them. Maybe it's 3 months from now, maybe it's 6 months from now. Okay. The maybes, we're following up with them, and we're giving them some kind of idea of what they need to do between the follow-up. So if somebody is interested, but they're not ready yet, they're not a yes, they're not a no, we need to find out exactly what it is that, you know, is standing between them being a yes or a no. And once we understand that, let's say it's the science. Well, you know, I just want a chance to look at the science and see really what this is. Well, chances are they're not going to go through every single study that's out there and read 20 plus studies. So I would offer them and say, maybe, could I send you 2 or 3 abstracts? I know that you're busy and your time's really valuable. If I sent you 3 abstracts on the studies, do you think you could read those? Tonight's Monday, by Thursday. You know, just squeeze it in. It'll probably take you 20 or 30 minutes to read those abstracts, and then just touch base with you on Thursday and see what you think. But if we just blindly let them walk away and we don't know why they're not a yes or a no, we don't know how to follow up, and then it becomes awkward. And the follow-up, you guys, I want you to understand this as well too. We're not building this business overnight. Treat this like a 3 to 5 year plan, and that will allow you to maintain the relationships in a much better way, okay? And you're not calling somebody. Following up 5 times doesn't mean you call them up 5 times in one day or 5 times in a week so that you can check off the box that I've followed up with them over and over again. Allow the relationship to continue to exist, because if you maintain the relationship and you stay in this for the long run, that's where you'll start signing people up 2 years later, because you haven't been a pain. You haven't made them avoid your calls or your messages or your texts, whatever it is. So be cognizant of what's happening in that relationship. And anytime you feel like the relationship is starting to turn sour because you're too persistent or you're too tenacious in building it, back off a little bit or ask adult questions. Okay, adult questions are going to get you adult answers. Hey, I kind of feel like you're avoiding me. Maybe I've talked a little bit too much about LifeVantage with you lately. Honestly, your relationship with me is way more important than being a customer or a business partner of mine. If that's the case, could you just please let me know? And they'll tell you. Okay, they'll say maybe, yeah, you know, you've been a pain in my butt and I don't want to hear about it. Okay, and then you're asking for permission. I totally get it. My obligation was to share the information. I know it's not for you right now. Would you do me the favor if something changes, come back to me? Or, you know, could I just follow up in 6 months and kind of update you on what's going on? And maybe the answer isn't that, though. You asked that adult question. I kind of sense that our relationship isn't as good as it was because maybe I was being too aggressive with this. If that's the case, I'd really like to know. And maybe they just say, no, you know, I'm super busy right now and my life is complicated. This and that's going on. I just don't have the time to dedicate it to it. So, you know, that's why I haven't been following up or calling back or returning your texts. So adult questions are going to get adult answers for the most part. Anytime you feel like the relationship is being turned off by what you're doing, pull back a little bit. Don't be as aggressive. Give it time to build itself over the course of time. It doesn't have to be built in 4 months, because if you build it like that, you can jeopardize relationships. And this is a relationship business. So if the relationship no longer exists, they might fall off your database. Okay? Does that make sense?